Hey guys, welcome back to EntreLeadership, where we talk to real business leaders with real problems. I am not a theory guy. I do this from the trenches, and my guest this segment is the same situation. Liz is the co-founder and CEO of the fashion brand Seiko Designs, and she's now the Chief Growth Officer of Noonday Collection, and she's one of our speakers coming up at the EntreLeadership Summit that's going to be May 18th through the 21st in Denver. And so you're going to want to hear from her when you're there, but we wanted to give you guys a brief look at her for a few minutes here. And welcome, Liz. Good to have you.
Thanks so much for having me, Dave. I'm excited to be here.
You got great success at a pretty young age. Way to go. Congratulations. Proud of you. And I think part of that was looking at your story. I'm reading into it, but you tell me if I'm wrong, that it's a little bit of a Simon Sinek thing. You knew your why. And so as a fairly young person, you're dialed in and you get on a plane and you head to Uganda, one-way ticket. Tell me the story.
You know, in some ways, I was very dialed in. In some ways, I was very dialed out. The world was very unknown as far as what shape it would take. But you're right. What I was dialed in on was my why, which at the time, I was 22 years old. I just graduated with a master's degree in journalism. I would have told you that I was very passionate about global gender inequality and specifically issues facing women and girls living in extreme poverty or in conflict and post-conflict zones. So I had this thing that I said I cared about, but I graduated from college and I'm in my first corporate job and I'm kind of doing the thing and I'm looking at my life and I'm going, okay, you say you care about something. You have a lot of knowledge about it. You can sure run your mouth a lot about it. You have a lot of opinions. But I had this moment very early on where I realized that having opinions about something is very different than being passionate about something. To be passionate about something, your life actually has to be impacted by it. Actually, the root word of passion is pati, which means to suffer for, actually. You have to sacrifice for it. And so I had this moment where I was like, you have opinions, not passion. And if you want to grow a life of passion, what you actually need are relationships and community, and you need your actual life and world to be impacted by the things that you say that you care about. And when I looked at my world and the trajectory that I was on, I was like, oh, well, these two things are not impacted at all. And so I bought a one-way plane ticket, quit my corporate job in the height of the recession, and I moved to Uganda. And this is where I become less laser focused. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a job. Really, my only goal, my KPI, if you will, for that season of life was to make one single friend, was to say, start building a relationship and community with folks that you say you actually care about, and then we'll see where things go from there.
And out of that, the whole fashion thing is birthed? That's so cool.
That was the beginning of the tale. So I showed up in Uganda. I don't have a job. I don't have a plan. I don't have an invitation. I'm literally wandering around being like, do you want to be my friend? Hi, my name is Liz. And I start making friends and I start building community and investing in relationships. And through that process, I ended up meeting an incredible group of female scholars in between high school and university. Top 5% of female scholars in the entire country, but all of them came from backgrounds of extreme poverty. So they're testing into the best schools in the country, but they can't afford to go. And so all of a sudden, this huge issue, right, that can be very overwhelming, like global gender inequality, becomes pretty small. It's like, okay, here's 25 of the brightest girls in the country. Now they're my friends. Surely there's something that we could do to bridge this gap between high school and university. And so I tried a bunch of different things. They all failed. I tried to start a chicken farm. I went down a couple different paths. And then
I'm kind of glad the chicken farm thing didn't work out.
Dave, you and me both. And honestly, the reason it didn't work is because I dreaded chickens. It sparked no joy for me. I would wake up in the morning and be like, I am not the girl for the job. Even if this is the best way to solve the problem, and I actually deeply believe in investing in agriculture, specifically in developing economies, that's good for some people. That didn't work for me. And so next up, I tinkered and was reminded of these pair of sandals that I had made when I was in college. And my friend from back home was like, I don't know, is that something that you could make or do and sell back home? And I was like, let's try that. And spent months traveling around East Africa on the back of a motorcycle, sourcing raw materials, trying to figure out how to manufacture footwear in a landlocked country. Figured it out, and then hired 3 young women, Mary, Mercy, and Rebecca, and made them a promise that changed the whole trajectory of all of our lives. I said, if you make these sandals for the next 9 months, I promise I'll go home and sell them, and I promise that you'll go to college in the fall.
Wow.
And they were like, okay. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And that's how it was all born.
Wow. Liz Bohannon, she was the founder and CEO of the fashion brand Seiko. She'll be one of our speakers at EntreLeadership. So you take so we've got that in common. I sold books out of the trunk of my car, and you're selling sandals out of the trunk of your car when you got home, huh?
Quite literally. One of my favorite pictures is one that my husband snapped of me in our first year of business. We were stuck in really, really bad standstill traffic outside of LA. And I had like 400 pairs of sandals I needed to sell at this event. And we are in gridlock traffic. And I'm getting real anxious that we're going to miss the event. I got to sell these sandals. And so I'm like, put the car in park, babe. He's like, what? And I was like, we have sandals we have to sell. And so I get out of the car on the side of the highway, it was quite door-to-door sales, knocking car door to car door. People had nothing better to do. That's a captive audience. Managed to sell a handful of sandals there on the side of Highway 1. So yes, I was literally selling sandals out of the back of my car.
You're working the intersection. I mean, that's the whole thing there. Wow. And that all blows up into becoming this massive fashion brand.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It might look like it blew up. We all know behind the scenes, there's no silver bullet. There was not a single day where I was like, wow, this is just growing faster than I can handle. And it's all so easy. Every single bit of our growth came from, obviously, a lot of blood, sweat, tears, hard work. But yeah, we managed to grow a pretty significant company that ended up having a presence truly all across the globe. We started in East Africa, expanded to Asia, South and Central America, North Africa, to really support and build a network of artisan suppliers who are doing incredible work in their community but need access to a market. So only about 2% of people in our global supply chain earn a living wage.
Wow.
So if you are a consumer, you participate in that, right? And we all have choices. One of the things that I love to say is like we vote with our dollars. Mm-hmm. How we spend our money is a vote for how we want the world to work. And we want to make sustainable, ethical, fair trade fashion accessible, on trend, fun, and easy to shop.
Questions that we always want answered, I always want answered when I'm looking at someone who's done something globally the way you have is, if you went back and you boiled it down to 1, 2, 3, 4 principles, whatever it is, that caused you to be able to pull this off, what's the first things that come to mind?
You know, you kind of led with it, Dave. For me, being connected to my why was the driving force. Like, listen, you don't get out of your car on the side of Highway 1 and risk
life and
humiliation doing door-to-door sales unless you really believe in the work that you are doing. And so I think for some entrepreneurs, just growing a profitable, successful company is enough of a why, right? Whether it's because they get to build a team or they have a product that they want to see exist in the world. For me, it really was business, and specifically fashion, was a means to an end. Like, I had made a promise to these 3 young women. I wanted to do something. I wanted my life to, in some way, shape, or form, help contribute to closing that global gender equality gap. And running a company, as you know, it is so hard. It is it is by far the most difficult thing that I've ever done. And so for me, being incredibly in touch with my why and the reason that I'm doing it and continually reminding myself of that has been a huge factor in being able to stick at it and really maintain a sense of energy and passion for it. The next would be, I think I was really down on myself when I showed up in Uganda with only a goal of making a friend, right? That's like, that doesn't sound very serious. That's not great strategic planning. It doesn't sound very fancy or impressive. In hindsight, I can actually see that not having my idea going into this new situation was one of the biggest gifts, because I think oftentimes we can get really excited about these ideas and they kind of stay in our head and we get super attached to them and we start thinking like, this is a great idea and everybody's going to love it. And then we start sharing our idea or we take it to market and we're so attached to the idea that we actually don't do a great job of listening to feedback and letting our idea kind of change and grow and evolve. It's kind of like, this is what I have to offer. I'm going to force you to like it. I'm going to keep trying to sell you on this product that you may or may not actually be interested in. We get real clouded sometimes by our passion if we're passionate about the wrong part of our business. And so I think in hindsight, what was a huge asset to me was like, I don't care. Like chicken farms, sandals, fashion, like the product to me didn't matter. The mission that I wanted to accomplish did. And what that led me to do is to be very open to feedback, receive it, and then pivot really quickly until I got to a place where I was like, oh, this is actually something that the market is interested in. I wasn't like super, super attached. The idea itself wasn't precious. And so I think I was able to iterate and evolve and land on a really good idea faster than a lot of people can, because I was like, I don't care. I just want something that works.
That goes with something I heard you say that I really like. You've said before that dreaming small can be more impactful than dreaming big, and I completely agree with that, but I want to hear your take on it.
Yeah. Listen, you cannot open up Instagram or walk down the self-help aisle or go to an inspirational conference without somebody telling you to dream big, right? It's just ubiquitous kind of self-help culture. And if you've known me for like 10 seconds, you would know I'm all about like doing big things and dreaming big. But here's my problem. There's two groups of people who are already dreaming big and don't need somebody to tell them to go out and dream big. They're like, I'm good. I'm pursuing something big. Then there's another group of people who are not dreaming big. They are feeling stuck. They're feeling overwhelmed, and they're feeling kind of like left behind because they haven't figured out their big dream. I don't think it helps to tell those people just over and over again, like dream big, dream big. I think it actually leads to that sense of overwhelm. What I think is actually really powerful is when we give people permission or maybe even instruction to actually dream small, because most people have some sort of dream. They might think it's small. They might think it's insignificant. They might think it's something that nobody else cares about. But I'm convinced if we actually stop waiting for like the big, huge, impressive idea or opportunity to emerge, and instead we go like, what is it? What is the little thing that lights me up, that gets me excited? And if I start treating that little dream like it's a big dream and it deserves to be invested in and committed to, that is what kind of unlocks us from this state of paralyzed like waiting, and maybe big dreaming is something for somebody else out there. And it actually allows us to get into the process of creating.
Well, I think sometimes people get, when they've got a dream that they can digest, they actually step into action. And sometimes if the dream is too big, it swallows them and they do nothing. They're overwhelmed and they stand in the middle of their dream. And then we call them with derision a dreamer. Like, I don't want you marrying my daughter. You're a dreamer. That's not something you want to have. So that's the wrong kind of dreaming. And so I love what you're saying there. Liz Bohannon is our guest. She's the founder and CEO of the fashion brand Seiko Designs, and now the Chief Growth Officer of Noonday Collection. She'll be one of our speakers in Denver in May 18 through 21 in the spring here for our EntreLeadership Summit, along with a bunch of others. One of the people on the stage in Denver will be our mutual friend John Maxwell, who's described you as a transformational leader. You've said that the goal of a leader is to be someone who is constantly moving through the cycles of learning. Pretty much know that all leaders are readers. All leaders are coming to conferences like you and I are going to be at. We're all doing these things all the time. Talk about how important that is as you've watched it through your business growth.
Yeah, so my whole concept of beginner's pluck is really this idea that no matter where we are in the leadership journey, we should be just as intentional about channeling our inner beginner as we are about pursuing expertise or mastery. So throughout the leadership journey, the stakes become higher and higher, right? Assuming you have a level of success, you start to gain momentum, you have employees, you have people that are looking up to you, you have stakeholders. Something that starts to happen is the more we kind of associate ourselves as like we're getting further along, we're achieving, we're being successful, we're becoming experts, we also become less curious, less creative, less innovative. We start kind of acting out of this fear of preserving our image as somebody who's really successful and knows what they're doing. And we have a lot of forces that are telling us that we should do that. Obviously, mastery and expertise and success are great things to pursue. In tandem, we need to be pursuing a spirit and a posture of an inner beginner, of going, I'm going to continue to step into spaces that I haven't figured out yet. We call that the stage of conscious incompetence, where you're like, I am aware that I don't know this field or this new technology that's developing or this new cultural shift that's happening that's impacting my customers or my employees.
And I'm going to do it anyway.
When we show up and
we're going to do it anyway.
Right. We're going to do it anyway. The whole like adage of like, fake it till you make it, whatever. There's some, you can argue for it, but I think it is much more powerful to own being like, I'm a beginner. I am showing up truly with a beginner's mind, with a sense of curiosity. If I am the person in the room who simply is willing to ask the best questions versus has to have all of the answers and have it all figured out, I actually think long-term, I'm going to be more well-suited to create solutions that are more effective, innovative, and then ultimately bring other people along for the ride.
Yeah, it keeps Scrappy going. I mean, I'm a boomer that's 64 years old, and I own a company that has 600 of our 1,100 people are building digital products that I can't spell. And I'm sitting in the room with these people, and they're using acronyms like they're in the military or something. I have no idea what they're talking about, and they work for me. And so I have to be constantly inner beginner. I have to constantly be entrepreneurial. And I'm a little bit scared and scrappy all the time in my own place. But I tell you what, I think you've got to do that because things move too fast. And I think that's an okay place to be. You don't have to be completely in control and know everything to be the leader. As a matter of fact, it can be quite the opposite.
And I think when the leadership owns their inner beginner, what that actually does is it signals to everybody else in the ecosystem or organization, it's okay not to have the answer. It's okay to try things. It's okay to show up with a posture of curiosity, of learning, of being teachable. And that is what we want to model.
Amen. Amen. Liz Bohannon, the founder and CEO of the fashion brand Seiko Designs, one of our speakers at Denver, as I mentioned, May 18th, I can't get the date right, 18th through the 21st, 2025, EntreLeadership Summit. You can still get a ticket. There's not many left, but EntreLeadership.com/summit. We'd love to have you. If you don't get your ticket soon, you will have what's called FOMO. And you will not be, it won't be fear of missing out. You'll just be missing out. It'll be that simple. So I look forward to spending time with you. You're an amazing lady and an amazing leader, a powerful force in the entrepreneurial landscape, and we're honored to have you on our stage and look forward to getting to be good friends in the future.
Can't wait.
Thanks, Liz. This
Thanks, Dave.
is the EntreLeadership Podcast.